Yep.
Yes.
I asked, so I was reading the Ultimate Supreme Court reference today and came across this, and I
First of
was
all,
just
I
wondering.
first of all I appreciate that, Amanda. Just so you know, I appreciate that.
I have
That's
nothing else
hardcore.
to
That's
say,
hardcore.
You are one of us.
Yeah.
but I don't know. I guess in the Dow Chemical plant case, they rolled it open field and they used vision enhancement.
Okay.
Would using vision enhancement in curtilage be a violation?
Yeah. No. Did you also want to talk about drones? Any of this part of this? No. I think you just want to know basically when does Dow Chemical become a search, right, on curtilage?
Yes.
Okay. I got your answer. Well, you want to take it?
Well, Dow Chemical is not a
Curtilage case.
domicile.
No. So that's
Right,
why I
yeah.
want to talk. So let's talk
Yeah.
about it. But if you remember correctly, they Dow Chemical. Well, first of all, you got to explain what Dow Chemical is.
Right.
But also, they talked about the curtilage issue. They
Mhm.
said that these rules may not apply to curtilage.
Right. So yeah, it was who was investigating? It was
I want to say the EPA or something.
EPA or
Maybe
somebody like
maybe
that.
Brave.
Yeah.
Brave. Do you remember who it was?
I think it was the EPA.
Okay, yeah, it was the
Yeah.
EPA. Yeah.
And so they were wanting to see what's going on with Dow, if I remember correctly, and they ended up getting surveillance from aerial platform of some height, pretty significantly high. If I
Yeah.
remember
Well, look,
correctly.
I made it up. I mean, it was like either it was thousands of feet, but the thing
Mhm.
is, like, this was like in the mid 1980s,
Right.
and the EPA, if I'm not mistaken, rented the most advanced, well, almost like U2 level, like U2 spy plane, but not
to get photographs.
Yeah,
of
but
the,
not
of the,
quite
of the-
U2. But actually, it's actually a good example. Like, what if it was the U2 spy plane, right?
Mhm.
So, but the camera equipment that they had, they said from, I don't know, like 10,000 feet could see a 1-inch wire, right?
Wow.
And so
So technology not available to
definitely
most
not to the
folks.
general public. You couldn't pick that up at Walmart.
Right.
And so the argument, they want to look for obviously violations of the EPA, right? And
Because
actually
they wouldn't let them.
they wouldn't let them come in.
Yeah, they didn't have a warrant.
And
correct?
good for Dow Chemical, I guess,
Yeah.
right? You know, putting a stop to like the EPA a little bit. And
Mhm.
so they did the high tech, super intrusive, surveillance from the airplane, and they used those plain view images to charge them with those regulatory fines, right?
Right.
Violations.
Yeah.
And they lost.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I have my mixed feelings about it, but the point is that at the end of the day, the Supreme Court, as it is today in 2024, okay, they are very strict. It's either a piece of land is either curtilage or a home, right? Or it's not. And there is no middle ground. Now, at the state level, there can be middle ground, right?
Yeah, there are a little more restrictions on some of
Yeah,
those.
Texas, Louisiana, Oregon, Washington, they can have this middle ground called, they basically they judge it under a reasonable expectation of privacy, just good old fashioned reasonable expectation of privacy. Would this airplane violate the business's expectation of privacy? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure either way. But the point is, that's what happened, Amanda. Now, move that camera and go into a backyard. Well, man, we do have a problem. But I guess the next argument is this: could you see that same thing? Like, let's say you're at 10,000 feet, right? And you have that high tech camera, and you see a grow operation,
Right.
and from 10,000 feet, if you look out the window, you cannot see it. But if you were at 500 feet, which legally you could be, and you would see the grow operation, would that be a search under the Fourth Amendment?
No.
Amanda, I think that's where we're at in 2024. I think that's where we're at right now. Is that
Okay.
if you could go ahead, huh?
If you can see it with your naked eye,
From a lawful vantage point,
Yeah,
a
there
lawful
you go,
vantage point,
right.
and that's what the argument is going to be, right, Amanda? Because clearly, if you could see with the naked eye from 1,000, 10,000 feet, then you wouldn't need the high tech camera, right?
right?
But imagine you were flying at a safe, lawful level, right? Complying with all FAA regulations, and you would see the same thing. Then why does it become private just because you use magnification? And Amanda, I'll tell you a good example of this. Imagine that a narc is surveilling a drug house.
Talking about me?
You were a narc, not that kind of narc,
Oh,
right? You were a good narc.
the good narc.
Yeah. And so not a tattletale.
Oh,
And
that
so
kind of narc.
yeah.
Alright.
And so what happened was, or I'm saying, so imagine that Boone in his glory days over here when he was running and gunning.
The long hair.
Yeah, long hair, not the academy, just pushing pencils and stuff, riding a desk. So
much.
imagine that he wants to see, in front of the house, right? He wants to see drug operations happening in front of the house, hand-to-hand transactions, so forth. And instead of being on the sidewalk with the long hair looking like pretty much like an undercover cop, he goes 400 yards away and breaks out the binos. And you see how I do the hand gestures too? That's
like
an
that.
Italian thing.
That's the visual.
I mean, I'm doing the hand-to-hand transactions. I'm doing this. That's what Italians do.
Hey,
So
it's very nice.
it's very nice. That's not Italian, by the
No,
way.
it
That's
wasn't, no.
Borat. So anyway, instead of being right on the curb, we go 400 yards away, and he sees the exact same thing that he would have seen from the curb. Are we good?
Yeah.
That's what applies to the air.
Okay.
I think.